Welcome! I'm going to show you how to edit the Onesie Mockup with painted wood backgrounds in Photoshop. So first, click the arrow next to Onesie in this handy Layers panel. If you don't see the Layers panel, go to Window, Layers to bring it up. And then we'll double-click the thumbnail icon in the Design-Onesie front layer. And that's going to open up a smart object where we can copy and paste the design. Then we'll go to File, Open. Find the design, and then go to Select All, then Edit, Copy to paste the design, and click back on the Smart Object tab and go to Edit, Paste. You might need to resize that. To do that, go to Edit, Free Transform, and in newer versions of Photoshop you just want to click and drag any one of the four corners to resize it. In older versions of Photoshop, you used to have to hold down the Shift key to keep it proportional. So if you see your design getting distorted as you resize it, go to Edit, Undo, and then just do the opposite of whatever you were doing, whether that's holding down the Shift key or not holding it down. And then when you're done, click File, Save to save the smart object. And then we can close the smart object and the original graphics, and you'll see it put the design on the onesie just like that. There are a whole bunch of different pieces of this onesie that you can edit. So to do that, click the eye icon next to More Designs and Colors. And then we'll click the arrow to expand the More Designs and Colors layer group. And you'll see all these different parts that you can edit. So if we double click the thumbnail icon in the Color-Trim layer, we can edit the color of the onesie trim. And if you click in the gradient box, you'll change the color. And then click in this box to change the lightness and darkness of the color. And there, you'll see all the different pieces. You can edit the design and color of the right shoulder, the right sleeve, the left shoulder, the left sleeve, the bottom of the onesie here, the inside of the onesie, and also these little buttons. Right now I have the inside design set to partial opacity, so it kind of looks like it's shining through from the other side of the fabric. If you want to change the opacity of that layer, you can click on the Design-Onesie front layer, or the Design-Inside layer, and then click the down arrow next to opacity and drag the slider to the right to make it more opaque, or the left to make it more subtle. You can change the color of the whole onesie at once. I put the extra designs and colors inside their own layers, so you can turn it off if you just need to put a simple graphic on the front. You just want a simple onesie without all these extra pieces. But if you do want the extra pieces, they're all there for you. To change the color of the whole onesie, just double click the thumbnail icon in the Color-Onesie layer. And that'll open up our color picker. We can click in this rainbow slider to change the color, and in this gradient box to change the lightness and darkness of that color. Or you can enter the color values if you know them. If you have a especially bold or bright design, you might want to have a little more contrast in the shading. So you can do that by clicking the eye icon on in the More Shading -Onesie layer. And then click on the More Shading layer and click the down arrow next to opacity, and dragging it to the right makes it more contrasty, the left makes it more subtle. And if we click the arrow next to buttons, you'll see we can double click on this thumbnail icon in the Color-Buttons layer to change the color of those little buttons. You can also just turn that layer off if your onesie doesn't have any buttons by clicking the eye icon. You can adjust the shadows underneath the onesie. To do that, click the arrow next to Shadows under onesie, and then click the Cast Shadow layer, and then click the down arrow next to Opacity. You can drag it to the right to make it more pronounced, to the left to make it more subtle. And in this mock-up there's a color changing painted wood background layer. So to show that, we'll click the arrow next to backgrounds and then the arrow next to painted wood. To change the background to any color, you can turn on this color-background layer by clicking the box next to it to turn the eye icon on. And then you can double click the thumbnail icon to open up the color picker and change the background to any solid color. There are also a bunch of pre-built colors included if you want to use one of those. So we'll click the eye icon to turn off the color layer, and then we'll just click the eye icons to toggle through all the different included pre-built background colors. So you got red, orange, green, blue, purple, pink, light gray, dark gray. So you have a whole bunch of different options, so you can make a bunch of different images just from this one mock-up. If you need a version with a pure white background, you can just click the eye icon next to the painted wood layer to turn the painted wood off, and you'll see we have the white background on if you want to save a version like that. And that's really all there is to editing the onesie mock-up on painted wood in Photoshop. To save this, we'll just go to File. And then if you want to save a thumbnail for use online, go to Export As. Or File Save As. You can do either one. And save it as a JPEG. So we'll change the drop-down menu here from Photoshop to JPEG. And that'll save a version as a JPEG for us. You could also come back here a second time and go to File, Save As again, and have the drop-down menu on Photoshop, and then just change the name, maybe have a layered PSD for each of your designs. You can click Save again. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so you get updates to future videos. And remember that this mockup and other mockups are available at melissabmockups.com. Thank you.